Middle of the Pack podcast. Hey runners, welcome to the Middle of the Pack podcast, the podcast that keeps you moving. I'm your host Padraig, and I'm thrilled to have you join me today. We're lacing up our shoes and hitting the road to talk about all things running. We'll aim to be the sweet spot for runners who aren't pros, but aren't newbies either. But obviously, if you are, you're welcome too. I'm a runner just like you, navigating the ups and downs of training, racing, and everything in between. We'll dive into practical tips, honest gear reviews, and real conversation about what it's like to be a runner who's chasing progress and not perfection. Whether you're starting out on your journey, a middle of the pack runner, or a seasoned marathoner, this podcast is for you. So let's get those legs moving and dive in to the Middle of the Pack podcast.
And I think that's why running actually takes me away from, because if I wasn't running, Padraig, I'd be working.
Like, I'm still like a naive enough runner, like in terms of like what happened at Cork.
And welcome to episode 2, where you heard Angeline and Fergal Murphy there, the Muracoos, who were marathon leaders with me with the Runner's Diary podcast on the build up to the Cork Marathon. We were leaders for the Cork Marathon for the Runner's Diary podcast. So over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be chatting with them about the Cork experience, the build up to Dublin, and everything that goes with that. A few things about the episode, really. We're talking with them about how to juggle family life, what it's like working through a marathon block during the summer. You'll hear their kids in the background, which is interesting. I mean, that's just the reality of life. At the odd time, they gate crash the interview, but that's the joys of it, really. And it's really, there's a part of it where they talk to me about half marathon target that I had to do, and maybe I'll report back on that next week to see how it got on. And they're talking in miles. I normally talk in kilometres, so if that's gobbledygook to you, it was a little bit to me as well. And also there's a lot of talk about Kieran, who is our coach. As part of the Cork City Marathon, we were given Kieran as a gift, really, and we decided to stay on with him, which was fabulous. I also talk a lot, they talk a lot about Yvonne, who is my wife. So if you haven't heard of her or about her before, that's who we're talking about. So there's Kieran, there's Yvonne, and there's miles and kilometres. But most of all, there's just a lovely conversation between us. We hadn't seen each other since the Cork Marathon, and I hope you enjoy what is just a conversation between three people just reminiscing about Cork and building up to Dublin. And as I said, we will be doing this for this episode and for next week's episode. So how have you been?
I've been good. Oh my God, just trying to stick to the plan, you know.
Which is the plan?
We've got our places in Dublin, which is good.
Yeah, but before we get into Dublin, I just wanted to talk about you guys really first, because it's interesting that all the podcasts that we did previously, I never know what your day jobs are.
Oh yes.
I know that Muracoo movement is involved somewhere there, that there's a coach going on. But you did mention that you were an engineer at another time, Fergal. I don't even know what he does. And we're all thinking you're juggling your busy life. That's going, I don't know, obviously, Angeline, you were the sewing bee.
Yes.
But what do you do?
So,
what is the day job?
Can we go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a full-time job, Padraig. I'm a brand and advertising manager for an energy company. I look after SME customers in the UK and Ireland. Yeah.
But you do the sewing thing as well then?
And then I do the sewing thing, and that's my hobby. That's my side hustle, as you call it. And, I have clients. I work with Primark, and I do talks with some of the councils in Northern Ireland. I'm an advocate really for getting people to work with their hands again and keeping the traditional skill of sewing alive. So I've made wedding dresses and I've made bridesmaids dresses. I've done all of that, but mostly focusing now on just teaching. So I might teach on a Saturday morning, or I could be like yesterday I was in Cambridge teaching with Primark, and or pennies down south, as you call it. So it just depends. So I try and manage everything, but because I really love doing that, that's my side hustle. And then obviously running and family in between all of that. So
A mother do.
uh,
A mother do.
and then mummy.
So is your job part-time or a full-time
No, it's
job?
full time. It's full time. I
How
take
do
an
you fit
annual
in all
leave
that?
day. Yeah, I take an annual leave day if I have to go work. Yeah, I know. It's busy. It's busy. But I suppose I've been building up that my side business for 10 years now, and it very much ticks along. And you might get someone emailing to say, could you take a class on Saturday X date? And I can just turn up. It doesn't involve, because I've spent so long building that brand for me as home sewing and being able to teach and sustainability and textiles. I wouldn't say I work flat out on that all the time, but I do do a lot of work on it on the side. Like we don't watch that much TV or anything. If we have time, we know we're working on maybe social media content or admin for our own business. So yeah, it is hectic. It is hectic. And I think that's why running actually takes me away from, because if I wasn't running, Padraig, I'd be working. Do you know what I mean? Like I would say I'm self-confessed bit of a workaholic in terms of, that gives me that bit of a break, and I'm doing it from health then as well. So that's why I enjoy running.
And Fergal, do you just
So I pick up the slack. No, so I would, well, just leading off Angeline's, so then I would be involved with some of her craft stuff as well, with, delivering some upholstery classes.
Yes.
And then we have the repair box, which is like a sustainable venture, that we
work on together.
cycle the horse box that goes out.
Yeah, did I see that you were set up once in
in
I
the
was in there.
Boulevard in Bambridge.
Yeah.
I suppose we're sort of champions of sustainability and repairing things rather than throwing good items out. And Fergal's very much
And make do. So then that
with his hands.
Yeah.
For upholstery type stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the sort of crossover in the running. And then Angeline would have got me into CrossFit basically back in the day, and I would have played football. And then whenever I gave up the football, went to the gym 5 days a week, and then really loved CrossFit. Ended up going to get the CrossFit level 1, and then I am a consultant civil engineer as well. So did that for about 12 years, and then just Angeline was on her third maternity, took a year out then at that point, and then started a career break, and started my own wee gym in the local GA hall, Murray Movement. And with it then we grew it there, and then after a couple of years we then migrated to online then, so it's fully online now, and I do that as a sort of passion project, like Angeline's sewing, so it just ticks on, and you're keeping people going there. And then I do work 3 days a week for consultant civil engineers, and then do a wee bit of my own stuff then the other 2 days, and manage the kids then, and just have a real good balance of life. And
me too. Well, we say that, but yeah.
Yeah, but as I say, you wouldn't see the living room there maybe till Monday to Thursday, you know what I mean? But you just, the more you do, the more you're able to do. And we're very productive with our time, I think. And we spend a lot of time with the kids and are out running or being active.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah, civil engineer for me sins, and a functional fitness engineer, I suppose, as well.
Yeah.
I did see you did a post during the week, or maybe last week, where you said something about getting up early and stealing the day almost, and doing all load of stuff before. Yeah, I mean, I'd be similar to that, where I get up at 6:15. I think you were talking about earlier, and it's amazing. It's amazing what you can, catch up on, or get ahead of yourself by doing things like that. But it was torture for the first kind of 6 months doing it, but now I've been doing it for years. So even if I don't set an alarm, I wake up at 6:15.
Wow. What time do you go to bed at then, Padraig?
About 3:00 in the morning. No. 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's probably enough sleep.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
7 hours.
It's the quality of sleep too.
Yeah.
But and some nights you have good quality sleep. Some nights you've bad, but like sun rises, sun sets. Like, and if you're used to get up at 6 and you get up, and that's the thing. Like, you're ahead of the game. Like, whenever you're up at that time. And I've always found it like everyone else is sort of sleeping. And then you
the
come out
power
at
nap.
7:30 from the gym and you're ready to take on the world. Like, is what I find.
I feel like I cut you off, Fergal, though, when you're talking about your Maracu movement. Like, what does that involve? Or, like, could you be coaching running as well, or is it more?
Yeah, well, I suppose you could be coaching running. That drives me then to want to perform well in my marathon times. Like, as well, like normally what I'm coaching there is functional fitness, and the CrossFit style of fitness. And really the benefit I got from it was like as a busy parent, like being fit and able to do whatever you want, like to throw your hand at the marathon because you're fit and able to do it. And to manage the stresses of juggling family and work and training for a marathon, like that's really what drives me, and that I can feel the benefit, and then I want to share that knowledge with other people. So that the knowledge then that I'm gaining from running and my experience of running and how it actually a marathon mirrors life really in terms of it's all rosy when you're, up to 20 or 30 years of age. And then I'm sure then between 30 and, 50, you start to feel the pains, which is the mid-marathon, and then you're getting to the end. Then it's like, have you done the right prep ahead of time, to actually be able to finish strong in the marathon in life? Like, because my first 2 marathons I did, I was very nonchalant and I had football fitness behind me, and I was like, I'll just go away with Angeline for the weekend and do the marathon. And literally, like, you could bluff a half marathon, but then like whenever you sort of towards the end of the marathon, like it's that 20 plus, like it was just hell on earth. Like, and then I remember being in Amsterdam because it was hell on earth in Belfast when I did it, and then in Amsterdam I felt a twinge. Like, I hadn't done any training. Like, the longest run I did before Belfast was 14 mile, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't like consistently. The longest run before Amsterdam, I think, was 7 mile. And then I just went out and
done at home.
don't try this at home. But then I went out, and then it's like you just push to the edge of the cliff, and then the cliff is the marathon, and then you have to do it or else not do it. So I was like, right, I'll do it. And then the whole body was sore, and I was like, there's definitely sort of feel like I could quit here. But I remember then supporting Angeline in Edinburgh and London, and the whole city's in lockdown. So like trying to move about when you're, a marathon's happening is chaotic. And I remember thinking to myself, if I quit, I'm going to have to try and navigate my way through this crowd with nothing to get home. And then I just looked to the right, and there's a crowd. To the left was a crowd. Straight ahead of me was just clear because it was the marathon route. And this is the quickest way for me to get a Heineken in my hand and get this finished. Is just complete this route here. So like, this is right. I'm just going to have to finish this. And then that was that. But you live and learn. And then Cork was a bit of a shambles as well in terms of pace. Like, where I didn't follow the plan and I ended up like hanging on for half of it. So this time round, I'm going to try in Dublin and really just keep my composure.
And since I started the marathon training, the power nap, Kieran always mentions about making sure you're catching up on your sleep and getting some recovery sleep. Mm-hmm. He did slag me off a lot when we went away on the last weekend because we're self-employed and I'm more like yourself, Fergal. I pick up the slack and Ivan is in the shop, so I'm doing a lot of the admin back here. But I found stealing 20 minutes and actually lying down and setting your alarm, initially I couldn't do it at all. And now it's like I crave for that. And I was going, but I can't because I'm busy and the kids have to be dropped here and they have to be dropped there. And how can I fit in a power nap? And he was saying, I think it was him anyway, we'll credit him anyway. He said, if you go on if you go onto social media and go onto TikTok, he said, you'd be surprised how quickly a 15-minute slot can disappear. Definitely. And he said, just steal that time again to lie down. And it's huge, like, particularly on a Sunday now. Do you do your long runs in on a Sunday?
Yes. Yeah. Well, at the moment, like this week, we ended up not able to do it until Monday. I find the summer months actually even busier than when we were training for Cork because the kids were in school and there was a bit more of a routine.
Yeah.
I find summer really hectic and our weekends seem to be busy. And then trying to slot in the long run has been difficult. Like
Because you're
we
away
end up
somewhere.
because I'm away or
Well, like as a
all
family.
of us is like, yeah, and we're sort of because the kids are off, we're trying to even make more conscious decision to go away with them at the weekend and spend even more time with them. So, like last couple of weekends we've not even been here, or we've been maybe out meeting with friends on a Saturday night, and then on like last Monday, I think we ended up doing our run this week, our long run after work on Monday. Not ideal, but fitted it in. This weekend we're down for Mana. I'm meeting our friends tomorrow night. We're going to stay over. So Fergal could do his on Sunday.
With family mass tomorrow morning. So basically we're down like leaving at 8 o'clock to go down to Fermanagh. Family mass, and then down to your friends, and then have another family dinner on Sunday then. So it's like this is a really challenging block like compared to the Cork, I think. Like,
I think so. Yeah, I find that.
It's really like if we achieve our goals in this marathon block, like it'll be really something, I think. Like
this has been difficult, so I might do mine on Monday.
This juggling.
But ideally, Padraig, we would have done it at the weekend on a Sunday morning. And I seen myself, I'll never forget doing the 20 miler, and we did it down in the morns. And I came home from it and I was so exhausted. I just said, I need to go to bed. I need to go to bed now. I don't know if I wasn't fueled right or if I'd just taken on too much that week. But my whole body was just like saying no more. So yeah, I'm going for a nap after it. So I think you need to listen to your body as well, very much so.
So with the fuel, what did you do for Cork, and what are you going to do differently for Dublin, or are you just going to eat jelly babies for both?
Yeah, no, for Cork actually, I did take on the gels, and I took on the gel every 5 mile, I think it was.
Mile or kilometre?
Every mile, every 5 mile.
Okay.
So that would be every 9 kilometres, is it? Yeah, 8, 9 kilometres.
Yeah. Okay.
And then what did you do, Fergal?
I was the same. That's like, yeah, I did the same. I would gel every 5 miles, but I made the mistake of, buying different gels the night before at the one shop, and then
I know, Padraig, this is
what that everyone says.
Lemon and lime SAS. Basically, I went off the rail. My whole training was like, it said Angeline, like, just stick to the plan, do this, you know what I mean? And then,
the way I'm like,
and then Damien shopped then the night before. I said, I have to give him a turn here, like, and then he says, I says, I'll have the SAS ones, but they were SAS lemon and lime with caffeine in it then. So I took them, and they didn't taste that great now when you're going around, but I don't blame that. Like, I was, I don't think fueling was really a problem.
I don't think
it's more a body.
I don't think he do that again. Do you know that taper week, Padraig, they talk about people go a wee bit off?
Yeah.
Well, Fergal on the I was just saying on taper week that people go a wee bit doolally. Well, Fergal had this idea that he'd go to Hong Kong for his friend's birthday. He was like, I'm going to go to Hong Kong because I don't really do that much training this week. And I said, Fergal, this is not a good idea. You have to rest before the marathon. So for being so engineered and consistent throughout his training, he was going to throw it all in at the last minute, self-destruct. So, yeah.
I didn't believe that taper week stuff. Like, when then in my head that was a logical decision.
No, because not good.
Training was tapering off, and the flights were cheap. And he was turning 40. I was like, "This would be a good idea."
So your gel size strategy will be the same for Dublin then, except you won't
experiment
with a new one.
I think so. I think that's sort of the general consensus from seasoned marathon runners that it's every 5 mile, take a gel. The gel seemed to work for me, although I didn't trial anything different either, Padraig. So I might, on my long runs this time, try the jellies, the jelly gels.
Yeah.
Because I find sometimes the gels will be a bit sickening.
Yeah. Well, it was Damien at the Edge. Damien from the Runner's Diary had said to me as well, get a drinks mix. So you can get there's Ultra Nutrition or Precision have them as well, so it's more of a mix, but it's carbs as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
So it
Okay.
kind of varies it up. So I was doing that maybe about 3 weeks before the marathon, Fergal, not the night before, where I had 2 gels and then I had some of that and then I had a caffeine gel. But it's all, you're hydrating as well. So that was kind of a good way of
Yeah.
doing it. But
So you carried that with you?
I had a belt. So it was
Yes, the
only like
belt.
250 flasks, so it wasn't major.
Yeah.
It kind of evened out my belly. So I had the
Yeah.
water underneath.
Very
Mm.
good.
I'd say this time round I would pick the Imodium. I think Andy had put in about
Yeah.
picking up before the run, so I'd say I would definitely
And you are light.
and
Yeah, he
Dior
sent that out 2 days before, and I hadn't thought about it, and it was kind of
Yeah.
freaking me a little bit.
yeah.
But yeah, both Ivan and I did the Imodium, and that definitely it just
Helped
psychologically helped. Yeah,
as well. Yeah. Like I didn't I didn't have to go to the toilet at all through the marathon. And just very this would be my 10th marathon Dublin, and I think this will be my 10th one now. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I've never really ever stopped.
Well, I've only done one and haven't stopped. But anyway, was it your first, Fergal?
No, my third, I think.
Yeah, I did think
We did Amsterdam, Belfast, and Cork. Yeah.
What was Amsterdam like?
Good, yeah. It's good. Like a flat course.
You're a very recreational runner. We were very them other marathons. A lot of the marathons I did before, like I wasn't really focused that much on time, Padraig, really before.
Yeah.
I don't know whether now because there's more social media and there's more talk around times and trainings are a wee bit more structured. Like my marathons before, like I did a lot of mountain marathons. You just went out to finish them, do you know? And I was never going to win. So I was just going to see this. Like I always said, I did Berlin, Amsterdam, Edinburgh, London.
You were pushing some forward.
Belfast. I think I was always close to 4, like 4:06. Then Cork was 4:04, 4:10, 4:12, 4:15, always around that route. So I think I never would have done interval training or,
You're in the hills.
I would have done hill sprints that would have been it.
Yeah. They do make a difference though. But then I think as well, sometimes innocence is a bliss, isn't it? Like you just, because I found when people say to me, oh, when you get to this certain point now, that's a dodgy bit, the pubs that were calling out and like I know them, you mightn't, but I was going, once I got, and I remember feeling a bit, or, the classic when you hit 20 miles, that's where you hit the wall. If no one told you that, you're not going to hit a wall, are you? No, obviously people do hit a wall. That's the point. I suppose that's where it comes from. But I just find sometimes that if you don't know about it, would it actually happen? Because, that mind over matter thing.
Yeah.
At 20 miles, you're going to hit a wall. So therefore it's in your head. So does that accentuate the whole thing? I suppose that's my point. But do you remember, well, I remember you talking about it prior to, you were doing a race. It might have been a half marathon and you were sitting in the car and you were going, you feel like you've got imposter syndrome that you shouldn't be at this race. And like Ivan and I feel like that quite a lot, when you turn up for a race. And it's worse now we've joined the club because we've got the club crest.
You look like you know you're done.
Exactly. It's like a target on your back. Oh, let's beat this slow guy. Let's join the club. And sometimes you get the mind monsters before a race, but I don't know if you remember, like just before Cork, we were caught in this kind of a slight panic to get to the start line. Do you remember?
Yes.
And we were pushing through a crowd and then we eventually got in and it was like, whew, and it was almost starting. So you didn't have time to think about all those sort of, should I be here? Shouldn't I be here?
Yeah.
But
I think that's a podcast you could do on the prep and like lead into it.
I know it's hard because like I speak to so many people now still like, that do park runs and they're all going, oh, I don't think I could do, or I don't think I could, and I think we were all there at one stage where we couldn't go beyond 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers. And here we are going for another Dublin Marathon. Have you got your accommodation sorted?
I've just booked it, actually. Yeah, I have it
Okay.
booked. I organised that this week. So we're going to stay Saturday
So
night.
you are the boss, really. I know you joked about it.
Well, I didn't joke. This is serious.
Yeah, all booked, all booked. No, I think sometimes I just have to get all that organised, because it is actually quite busy in Dublin, trying to get accommodation
Yeah.
around the marathon time. So I'm glad we have something booked. We are just we're staying in the Premier Inn again in Dublin, because I love it because the rooms are all the same and the kids
Yeah,
are
yeah.
very familiar with the rooms.
Nice coffee as well, and good breakfast.
And there's good breakfast, and with the kids, they know what they're getting. So
you bring in the whole crew again?
yeah, so the kids are coming down. We're not that far from Dublin. I think Mummy's going to stay, and Daddy and my brother might come down the following morning. They might drive down. So yeah,
The morning of or the morning?
the morning of, they'll come down. Yeah.
Right.
What time is the
And
race?
we know, I think it's about 9:15. We know quite a few people doing the Dublin Marathon, obviously from up round our way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only about an hour, is it? An hour and a half? An hour.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Over an hour and a half, yeah.
But just on the point, the actual start time is 9:15. So yeah, we've just lost a half an hour there in our prep time. But it is probably a good point
Yeah.
of the show just to stop there, because we're getting into Dublin talk, and we've had a little bit of a review of Cork, and I know as we're talking about Dublin next week, we'll probably end up referring to Cork quite a lot as well, which is good because it's all about experiences, and I know you have done a lot of marathons between you now, and it's still good to know that as middle of the pack runners, we are still striving to achieve times. We're still looking to learn, because my experience of it all has been that we learn so much as we go along.
Yeah.
You never crack it, really. And I think maybe the time that you do will be the time that you'll falter a little bit. So it's always good to have that little bit of nervous tension, to have that time where you're feeling a little bit under pressure. And I know between the three of us in our Cork experience, we learned an awful lot, and I know as we talk next week about Dublin, we hopefully will be able to share some experiences of how we might do better, or maybe some doubts, because not all of us are super confident. I know I'm certainly not, and I think I'll always hope that marathons will scare me a little bit, because I think that makes you better. It makes you sharper, and it keeps you motivated, I suppose. So listen, thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next week, or hear you next week. And thanks for joining me on the show this week on Middle of the Pack. Thanks for joining.
Cheers.
Thanks so much.
I really
Thanks,
appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
No, what
Thanks,
pleasure.
Willie.
Hey, best of luck.
Bye-bye.
See ya next week. So that was the Murracoos, Angeline and Fergal Murphy. They will be with us again next week, where we'll talk more about Dublin. We'll talk more about them and their lives. And obviously, I'll have a little bit of an input too. I really enjoyed chatting to them again. Brought back all the memories that we had with the Runner's Diary podcast. And it's great that they've joined me on my new venture with the Middle of the Pack podcast. So join us again next week for more of that, more chat, and really hope you enjoyed the show. Follow us on all our social media channels, Instagram, TikTok. Follow us at Middle of the Pack. Search us at Middle of the Pack. And remember, as always, keep on running. And thanks for listening.